with the wonderful curly hair and stylish glasses, Mr. Doug Jackson from Department of Housing and Community Development, who will be helping us with this. And he's done a great job. He's gotten very familiar with the Highlands and Covington with doing all of the community heart and soul meetings we've had around in the area in the last couple of months. So should be a good meeting, and I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure everybody else is looking forward to hearing from you all thoughts and ideas and ways we can make things great and vibrant again. It's getting there. All right.
My name is Douglas Jackson, and I'm with the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development. And you've got a fantastic turnout here tonight. I hope you're feeling good about it. And there's food. So make sure you get some food. And we're going to be up and active a little bit during this tonight. You're not going to be tied to your seats. There'll be some more opportunity to sneak past and grab another pimento cheese sandwich. And what I'd like to do first to get going, I want to keep this kind of a real fast, tight meeting. This is about downtown revitalization. And in a way, downtown revitalization is almost a misnomer, I think, because downtowns are, it's kind of the heart of the community and a place that we're constantly taking care of and providing stewardship of. So it's kind of an ongoing process. And we're really happy that you've applied for a planning grant to do some specific work in town. And with that, what I would like to do is very quickly go around the room and say your name and if you've got an affiliation with downtown, what that is. And maybe, how about like the last thing you bought or sold or ate or did downtown? It might have even been very recently. Yeah. Yeah, the last thing you bought or you sold, you made, you did, you enjoyed. Yeah. So we'll start with you. We just want to zoom around the room.
I'm Dave Brooklyn, property owner. I try and shop and eat downtown as local as possible, so nothing specific, but it's often.
I'm Paul Lincoln-Hooker with Old Town Covington and the Allegheny Historical Society, which is a property owner downtown. The last thing I bought downtown were cupcakes and ice cream.
Cupcakes and ice cream. All right.
You can guess where I bought them.
I'm Ann Wright, and I'm a property owner in downtown Covington, and I went to the post office a few minutes ago.
Great. I just walked in there just to see if they had any WPA murals. I always go in the post office.
We did, but I'll talk to you about that later.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right.
I'm Lisa Shopmeyer. I have Shopmeyer Financial just across the street. I have an office right across the street that I own. And I guess I probably went to the same place Paul did for coffee. So.
Okay, thanks.
Teresa Hammond, Allegheny Highlands Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, and I bought chocolate-covered strawberries at the same place.
Business is booming.
This is Gardner, property owner. I guess I had to go buy a belt the other day to eat, so that was probably the last thing I got.
Okay.
My name's Adam Brown. Hopefully one day we'll open the archery shop on Main Street. Sherwin-Williams is the one that likes me right now.
I just saw you on TV.
Yeah,
It's a big
yeah,
Yep.
Athena Mason, I'm one of the owners of Cultivate Craft Bar, which is in the back side of that same building. We just sold a couple sketchbooks to a girl who came in. She's high school. She's getting into art also.
Great.
And also a property owner. The last thing I did downtown was go to the post office. Also, it's a church downtown.
Frank and Barbara Stone, we're property owners, and the last time I bought something in downtown Covington was when I was a teenager. My mom and dad brought me over here and bought my first vodka because she made all of those.
I bet you describe it in detail.
I can. It was reversible. Named
Thank you.
Ruben Cosleon, we're here for the new Castello Mexican Grill here in Main Street. And last thing was Paul's baseball card shop. Wanted to go buy some baseball cards.
Lionel Fuentes, part of the same building. I haven't bought anything yet.
What's in?
Pretty soon.
Sandy Kemper, I'm a property owner in the 300 block. The last thing I bought was some craft items in the craft shop on the corner.
Eddie Tucker, this is my wife Marcia, we're property owners in Covington. Last thing we bought was dinner.
Marvin Mitch Sellers, we're property owners here, business owners. Last thing that I bought, I eat various restaurants here pretty regularly. Shopped at Food Line tonight.
Cindy Bryant, president of Old Town Covington, and I bought cupcakes.
Cupcakes, all right.
David Bryant, I work here in the city. I used to go to the post office every day. I worked there. However, my last stop was at Paul's card shop. I was buying basketball cards on that trip.
Terry McClung with Economic Development, and Takes Your Way for coffee, and wasn't cupcakes, but it was a bag full of goodies.
Ray Lipes with Lumos, who's a property owner. The last thing I bought was lunch at the Double C.
Lisa Marie, Lisa Marie Photography. I was born here very long ago and had moved away when I was young, and now I'm back at my grandparents' house in Callahan, so most likely moving back here. And last thing I got was not too far from there was a little A&B bakery, and got a walking stick with a little antler on the top of it. So. Figured I could use it as a little weapon too. There's Panthers.
Kathleen All, I'm with the credit union, and I'm sure it was probably coffee, the last thing I bought. So.
I'm Mary Donna with the Allegheny Foundation, and the last thing I bought was gas for my car.
Alan Harrison, and I paid my Chantel bill.
Greg Nick, property owner, paid for a haircut.
All right.
Need to go back and talk to him about it too.
You can probably give me a recommendation. I'm due for one.
My name is Joshua Haynes. I'm a Covington City Planning Commissioner, and I spent 2 hours in Dizzy's gym this morning.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, well, we'll come over there to Eddie.
Eddie Wells, Director of Community Development with the Roanoke Valley Allegheny Regional Commission. Probably the last thing I bought was coffee at McDonald's, which is not downtown. It's probably one of the things we're here to address tonight.
I'm Eric Tyree, Director of Development Services for the City of Covington. Also opening a business downtown pretty soon, a brewery, and probably the last thing I did downtown was a banking transaction.
Alan Lisa Hicks, residence on Riverside Street. Last thing I bought downtown was breakfast, Double C.
I'm Bill Wilson. I'm a lawyer on Maple Avenue. I own the building there. I'm next door to the Granbury Methodist Church. I belong there since 1963. And on Main Street, I have clients who go to the Highland Therapy business. On up the street and go to the post office. I spend a lot of time in that courthouse up there, and I love those cupcakes.
John Langford, County Administrator for Allegheny. Last thing I bought on Main Street was a cheeseburger.
Alan Dressler, City of Covington. Last thing I bought was for my wife to have the right to watch TV next month.
Tom Stivo, Mayor Covington. Probably coffee. I was in Paul's card shop the other day, but I didn't buy anything. But I walk streets every day talking to people. Usually get coffee at the Takes Your Way and walk around talking.
Crystal Nidus, City Manager. Last thing that I actually bought was my very first lunch at Double C's. I actually got a cheeseburger salad, so there's ways to make everything healthy, and it was very, very good. And then also too, I went and paid my bill at Tri-County Furniture today.
My name's Chris Smith. I'm the chief of police, and I got my teeth cleaned right over on me about 30 minutes ago.
Fresh and clean.
As you can see that pretty smiling.
My name is Juan Roldan, City of Covington Police Department, and last thing I did was probably down here at the Double C.
Great. Wow, I told you it was a great crowd. Did I miss anybody? Okay. So, business owners and property owners and service providers, financial attorneys, city government, emerging businesses, police. That's great. I want to dive right into it. So, what we like to do with this, I know you have a good sense of what you want to do with this planning grant. So, planning grant is kind of a first phase of working with the Department of Housing and Community Development, where you get together, you decide on a very tight part of your district that you want to focus on, and then you say, what can we do with that part of the district that's going to advance us toward our overall goals? So you got to have a sense of where you're headed and how that project fits into where you're headed. And you've got to know that it's the right move at the right time. Now, can you ever really know if it's the exact right move at the right time? Maybe not. But if you have a room like this with stakeholders, thanks, that's all right. There's some important people in the room, and they're going to get phone calls. If you may not be able to know 100%, but if you've got a room like this with this many stakeholders, people who are passionate about the community, who think it's the right move, and more importantly, are really willing to actively support it, then it's going to be the right move. And that's why we say, hey, can you have a public meeting, get everybody together, let's talk about where the community is and where it's headed, and then hopefully this is the first of a number of meetings. And you'll have a management team that guides the project, but that management team is just one subset of the community, and we want the whole community to be involved in some degree, especially when it's a downtown project, because everybody cares about downtown. Mayor, do you ever hear any opinions about downtown?
Need something. That's usually the first thing I hear. Need to do something.
Everybody cares about it, right? Yeah. So what I would like to do to start, and I'll give you a heads up of what we're going to do. There's some blue pieces of paper floating around. Your neighbor's got some if you don't. There are markers. I've got some more markers back there. Eddie might help me out if somebody needs a marker, he can hand you one. And we want one item on one sheet of paper. So what we're going to do is build a timeline, just with the knowledge that's in the room. And if you could write on one item on one piece of paper, and you can do more than one. If you've got a stack of them there, and you know a lot of things, you can do more than one. Write one event that helped shape Covington. He's coming with some paper and a pen right now, I think. So one event that helped shape Covington. It can be, way back in history. It can be related to industry. It can be about people. I've had before when we've done this exercise, someone said, well, this is when I moved to town, which was interesting. It can be very specific that way. Trends. And it can be even national events and how they affected the community locally. So one event, and there are no wrong answers to this. Yeah, so write and use one of those markers. Use a marker if you can. And Eddie's coming, or Crystal's coming around. Use a marker and write real big and fat so we can read it. I'm wired for sound. One item on the piece of paper, there are no wrong answers.
Are these negatives or positives?
Either.
Anyone else need
Either. Just anything that shaped it. Forces that shape our communities can be both negative or positive. Sometimes they're a mix. And we'll take it, and you'll have a little time, write big and fat with a marker. Once you get it, one item, and write real big. And let's see if I've got somebody who might have written one that we can use for an example. All right. Street scene. What's that?
Well, it's a car show and a lot more than that on Main Street. And I own a building on the 300 block, and one day a year I use the building to have a place for the Mopar Club that I belong to in Roanoke. A bunch of people come from over there, and we have a good time in there.
What year did Street Scene start?
Ray, do you know that?
40 some years ago.
About 43. Okay. 40 years ago. Okay, what's another one? West Rock.
It's the main industry in this place.
Main industry. What year did West Rock? It wasn't the name. That wasn't the name of it, but
West Virginia Bulk Paper.
1899. Would you mind writing the years on these as we go? Okay. So you'll see we're going to start building a timeline, and we're going to move things around a little bit once we get going. Who's got another one? All right, Independent City in the 1950s. I'll come over there and get it. How did that change the community when it became an independent city?
The city grew. It had to undergo considerable change and initial expense to provide infrastructure to what was a very small, compact area. You take Parkland Heights, Dry Run. None of those were a part of the original city. Plus, then they had to create their own independent school system, as well as provide for utilities, water and wastewater. So that's substantial.
That is.
And those folks were, from the minutes indicate that those were considerable meetings during the course of a week that lasted very, very late.
In making the decision to become independent city?
And everything associated with it over the next 6-8 years.
Great. And that was in the 1950s. Okay. What's another one? The construction of I-64. When did that happen, Teresa?
Oh, way before my time. I think in the 60s.
Late 60s?
But it was good and bad.
It was good and bad. How was it good?
Well, it made us easily accessible, eastbound and westbound, and also conveniently located to 81 and 77. But it also kept people from actually traveling through the downtown. So, it took people off of Route 60 and put them on Interstate 64.
Great. All right, thank you. What do you have? Replica street lights, underground. I took a picture of those today. I think they're beautiful. Replica street lights, underground wire, widening the streets in 1989. How did that, what was the impact of that?
It made it more attractive, and things really boomed for about 2 or 3 years till Walmart.
Okay, so that physical improvement did make a difference?
It did.
Yeah.
We had every building was full after that.
Okay. And then you said until Walmart? Walmart. Okay. Do you have that on a sticky?
Yep, I got it on a sticky.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. And then Walmart. All right. What else do you have?
I've got one.
Oh, thank you.
From what I've seen quite a few large-scale events that the city and Old Town Covington have put on, but really Hometown Halloween, we had, I think it was just the library booth, and they were just giving away books. They had like 1,100 kids or more that came by pass, and really it helps increase, one, just folks feeling like they can come down to the downtown, but it also raises awareness of the businesses and things that are there. So that was my thing. I don't know how long that's been going on. I'm sure Mr. Dressler can tell me.
How long has Hometown Halloween been happening?
Or Mr. Bryant, or Mr. probably as well.
But that highlights the businesses.
It's a huge thing, and it's so family friendly. And
It's probably been happening about 10 years.
Okay. All right, yes, sir. What you got? Hercules Fire. When was that? 1980. Okay. And tell me about that.
Well, the fire and our second largest employer at the time wiped out half of the factory. After that, we had a downturn in population. No jobs.
What's the population peak been? Where was the city at its highest population?
Probably 12 to 12,500.
12 in early 60s.
In the early 60s. Would you mind writing that on? 12,500 in the early 1960s. That was the population peak. Okay. And what's the population now?
Weldon Cooper is estimating 54 to 5,500, which is down from the 2010 census of about 59,500.
Okay.
And it's the same in Allegheny County as well.
Okay.
So the entire area.
Thank you. What's another railroad?
They're put that one back early.
Yeah, this is back here somewhere, huh?
Yeah. It was critical to be in the infrastructure that changed us from a water-based trading route to an industrial route, set in motion some of the other things.
Made everything feasible. Yeah. And did anybody else have railroad?
Two on there, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. So, were they about the same time?
No, definitely.
Okay.
No.
So we have the mid-city mall construction.
Just an event that somehow has shaped Covington. I mean, we definitely have used it a lot.
Yeah. How did that shape the community? What went into that?
First thing that comes to mind is the additional parking. And we've also had a lot of events in that area also.
In that parking lot? Okay, yeah. And what year was the Mid-City Mall improvement made?
Did you say 60?
It's been a while back, yes.
When they tore down Jeter.
Yeah, when they tore down Jeter.
When they about 67?
I don't know.
78.
For a while.
They tore down Jeter in 78.
I went to Jeter in 4th grade. I ain't that daggone.
You didn't go there in 1978.
Don't you know,
but
in 68 when
it was maybe it was 68.
That sounds more like, yeah.
And you know,
I ain't that old.
I'd like to say one thing about that.
Yeah, you are.
David's father gave heavily to that, and all the merchants paid to have that lot paved.
Yeah. The merchants.
And yes, and the Presbyterian Church paid to have half of this lot paved when it was the old city hall. So, you know, people paid in quite a bit.
Okay. And what was Jeter? What was
school?
Elementary school. That's what was on the property. Okay. All right. And then you had hiring Alan Dressler?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Alan is let me say something here.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of people come and go over the years, and you know, Alan has always exemplified the attitude and the progressive thoughts and willingness for change that this city needs. And we've had a lot of real positive impact because of what he has done. So we need more of that.
And what year does this gets attached to this? You're right.
1993.
1993. All right. Okay, who's got, do you have none? Do you have another one?
I already have a restaurant, but I think the loss of the railroad traffic.
Okay, what?
They moved them all to Maryland in about 86? When they moved a lot of the shops out of here, out of Clifton, but it affected Covington as well.
Okay.
There's a piece of history out there that indicates, I think, the rail depot here, early 1900s, was the fourth largest stop in the eastern U.S. I think Cincinnati, Richmond, and I'm not sure if it was Baltimore or another location. So the railroad sort of was more prominent than most of us in this room actually remember.
Wow.
And an interesting fact, the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad was established after the Civil War, when the Virginia Central Railroad and the Covington and Ohio Railroad merged to form the Chesapeake and Ohio.
So
And that connected
really
the Chesapeake Bay with the Ohio River in Huntington. But there was a big hotel here called the Intermont, which was the finest hotel between Washington and Cincinnati, which is why this was such a nice stop. And then, of course, it led to the homestead. So I won't give you the rest of the history of the county, but
So the Intermont was in Covington?
yeah, it was from like 1890 to 1917. The current depot was built around 1908, 1910. But the railroad came here in 1869.
1869. All right. Who has another one? And you can be scanning this and adding to it too. So when you start to see some things, you might think of, oh, here's another shaper of the community. So Coochie's open. What year Coochie's open?
70 something.
1970? Coochie's open around 1970? No. And then tell me about Coochie's.
Well, it's a fantastic restaurant, but I think it's more just become, a lot of things get held there. People have like meetings there. Everybody goes there. It's sort of the epicenter of town, all over.
And that, I like the way you just phrased that. You said it, it's the epicenter part of the culture.
It's through dining out, I would say.
Yeah.
You go there on a Saturday night, you'd think it was a club.
Yeah. Every night we
Just how full the parking lot gets.
And I'll ask you, that epicenter, like where is the center of the community? And there can be many answers to it. And part of it is,
Depends on if you ask county government or city government.
Yeah, there's that piece of it. And you can ask somebody like where the center of the community is, and you'll get a lot of different responses. But it's one question we like you to ask when you're looking at a downtown district. Like, where's the center of your downtown district? And it doesn't have to be the geographic center, but where's the place that people gravitate toward? Where's there some mass? And then this is going to be rhetorical right now. The next question is, where do you want to be the center? Because we have a hand in shaping this as well, and that's what these grants are about. And you can say, well, we've got some weight down at this end, but it kind of peters off in the middle. What if we had another anchor or some weight down here? So we want you to think about those things as you're starting to plan an investment, and that's what this planning grant is about.